Hello, I'm Scott Brown with Green Wind and Other Home Energy. Well, right here we've got the lid to the mold. The whole thing is assembled. I've got one screw here and one screw over here. When I line these two corners up, this is pointing up right now, and I got the terminals where they went through and they slid through pretty nicely, and that is on its center peg right there, which the nail doesn't stick up from up here in case I want to set something on top as well. Anyway, I countersinked all the rest of the holes where I think I want to put the stuff. Now I'm going to drill with a 5/32 drill, so that makes up for all the threads, so it slips only through the top. Or I can show you another way. By the way, I know you can only see the silhouette of it, but that's a countersink. It's very valuable to have. That gives you a better view of it. Point it where you want to put a screw, and that screw will sit down below the surface when you screw it in. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it. I mean, this is the top of the mold, not the inside, so it doesn't have to. But I got some inside that I need to doctor up or just remove the holes. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and show you the other way. Now that I've got them countersunk, I know exactly where it's going. This gun doesn't spin until it gets down there. And that's usually that sound you're hearing. I'm going to take this down. This is 1 1/4 inch. I got a 5/8 board, so I'm going to go down about 1 inch, or about 3/4 of an inch. Oops, too far. I'm going to back up. Now, while it's in reverse, I'm going to push down. When I get to there, I know I got good threads down below, and she's sunk in there. Sweet. Okay, one more time, just for demonstration. Let the screw. Turn it forward. I set her down. Push it as far as I want it to go. Back up. Get down just so far. And set her forward. She's well countersunk. Alright, I fixed all of these. They're actually a little farther down. They're little holes now. Yeah, all I had to do is just countersink them and they drove in just sweet. Well, you got to wax the mold, and I want a good coating on it, so I make sure I got everything. I used candle wax. That candle was about 1/3 taller, and there's still a lot in the bottom of that pot. Still some, it's a little warm. I dipped the glove in and just around like that. Fingers got a little warm. Got some, actually, they got used to it, and I did the whole outside, this whole edge, down in the cracks real good, and all around here. And in these places where you had wood that had a little ripple or warp in it, just kind of dip it right back into a hot wax, rub right over it, and a lot of that disappears, and that's going to be real nice. That's going to seal good. The lid, I'm not going to do that too. I'm just going to put a thin layer on and I'm going to wax it, but I want to use this mold quite a few times. Hello, I'm Scott Brown with Green Wind and Other Home Energies. As you see here is the starts and the finishes. This is the coil sitting on top. What you're looking at is the top of the lid. For the very top, I've got all screws all set out. Just showing you this. Drag it backwards. Get it nice and even, smooth. You know you've got everything waxed heavily. And then do the same thing on the outside. I guess I could, but basically I'm staying away from this edge over here. I'm not going in any farther than that right here. It's been windy the last few days. What's left here, I'm just going to kind of heat up again with a little torch and run over it, and it'll smooth right out, so don't have to get perfect. Okay, what I've done, as you can see over here, and these little pockets here where the terminals are, I made sure that was flat there. I hit a little bit of the sealant, so I rubbed some more wax there. I've done the whole inside, and I'm going to show you what I do on the outside here. Basically, if you lean your knife over, everything above the surface of that wood will come off with a few strokes. Unless you laid it on there real thick. If you did that, just be patient. If you got a drip running this way, then go this way. But this gets nice and smooth. You know it's completely waxed. And alright, we're working on the last corner over here, which I kind of went over once. All this spare wax I throw right back into the pot. Don't waste it. And then run this way. That is so smooth. Man, it's slick too. It's going to make a nice release when this comes apart. Took my little torch and went over all these little lighter spots, which usually means the wax is thicker there or it hasn't got sunk into it. Went over most of it, right over into the corner over here. It's a pretty decent torch. It stays lit in the wind. Instant light, just by releasing and coming back. I like this. Still haven't found my propane torch. Okay. Got everything all nice and smooth over and soaked in. We know we got a full, even coverage right there. You're not trying to light the wax. There we go. A lot of wax up on that nail. I think I'll just leave it alone. And I've gone around the outside edge. Remember when I scraped, I didn't touch this over here. Alright, that's about enough of this. I think this is ready. Alright, sets in nicely and it's nice and flat all the way around where I can get my finger around it. So I know I got a nice solid piece. I'm going to cut the fabric so it fits into there as well as up to here and to right here. And when I set this in, of course, I cut this out, set the other piece in, and then the next sheet goes on top after it's all poured, and the greased lid comes on, and screw it down. 2 hours later, we'll have a stator. Alright, what I've been doing, I got a little bit of wax left that's still melted. Basically, I let it cool down to where it's pretty cool, and just dip the end of the glove in there. It's soft. It's not real hot where it's going to burn you, but it'll stick, and while you're pushing it in, it's getting in there. Then we go ahead and scrape it off. This is the lid. We're almost ready. Do the same thing with this as you did the other part of the mold. Alright, now just run the knife across. I'm not doing it straight across, I'm doing it like this. This is angled to my left a little bit. That way it rides on one. I got 2 fingers pressure on the other side, even pressure. That should mean the knife should ride with even pressure all the way across this. Get it pretty quick. Do it this way, then do it the other way. Alright, so you can see the lines. Now this gets clear as I run across it. I'm just going to go over in a pattern back and forth. And any spots that seemed that I missed, I'm going to go ahead and just heat them up, melt them down too. What all this means is all the little holes inside are getting sealed, so even dry spots that didn't get no wax, like down in the crevices, you'll watch them turn dark as you run across it, because you know with the wax, it's going in the hole. There was one. Especially around my screw holes. Okay, well, this is the fiberglass cloth we're going to use. I cut out one square already, but I wanted to show you something I thought was pretty cool. You take one strand on the right side of the scissors, and you just pull up as you cut, and aim your scissors right into, whoop, not working. Cutting fiberglass material straight isn't too hard. Just kind of aim straight. If you pull up on the one on the right side of the scissors, it'll guide it away from cutting it and also become a guide to help you cut straight. Oops, I cut that one. Now I got to follow the fabric. Alright, and that's pretty straight. The rest of this folded up before it unwads itself. This stuff is fragile. Okay, well, I got the fiberglass mat. I just kind of touched it down. It's barely stuck there. Basically through here, and this is the piece that goes in the middle. That's where I wanted it to end. If you take your razor blade down at an angle like this and only let this point touch on the edge of the circle, you can walk right around this thing and it'll cut it nice. The wax is sticking and this is holding. Hold it down on that edge, give it some extra pressure just on that edge where you're cutting it. Cuts just fine. You got to cut these up here. I think cutting from the I'm going to cut on the upper surface up here. If you try to cut like this, it's going to drag the material. If you lay the blade down, it has a chance to slice through it. And keep your fingers out of the way. Doesn't matter about that little bit left over. Let's see. Aluminum foil tape sticks to everything. You can hear it unsticking. There we are. This stuff is so thin, I'm not worried. There we go. One more over here. I'm worried about that a little bit. Last little piece, easy to cut. It's on the opposite side of me. There we go. That's ready. One more circle to cut. I'll do that off camera. Alright, there's my second circle cut. She stayed down pretty nice. The wind tried to take it away from me, but I've got it all cut and set now. I can pull both of these out. I think I'm going to leave them in there for right now. Keep the inside of the mold clean. I'll get everything all mixed up. I'll pull them out, set them up, and we're fixing to cast this bad boy.